Today I'm going to follow on from the last episode of Beyond Health Tips, in which I quoted some statistics for cardio events, whether they be heart attack or strokes. This time I'm going to address the question, is it possible to avoid a cardiac event? The answer to this would have to be both yes and no. Yes, that is very possible that you can reduce the risk of a cardiac event to a very low level, but it is impossible to guarantee that you won't have one. So you have to do everything that you can to stack the odds in your favour. What about dying from a cardiac event? Is it possible to avoid that? In my opinion, no, but you can reduce that possibility to very, very slim. As I said, that is my opinion. However, the American Heart Association thinks otherwise. Have a look at this video that they put together.
Let me tell you something. I want to give you something to think about. It's a number, a big number, about 475,000. 475,000 isn't just a number, it's people. People who died from cardiac arrest in 1 year in the United States. Big number, bigger opportunity, because we can get that number down to zero. We can save all those lives. We can create a world where no one dies from cardiac arrest. Am I dreaming?
What do you think? Is he dreaming? This is how they would propose getting that number down to zero.
How do we get there? You know how we get there. We'll create systems that automatically detect cardiac arrest and activate an emergency response. We'll mobilize an army of trained and prepared responders to provide immediate CPR and defibrillation. This means pairing 911 response with bystanders through mobile technology, ensuring public access to AEDs, and more training through schools and kiosks. We'll remove barriers to getting bystanders engaged, creating tri-standers in the general public. We'll eliminate preventable cardiac arrest in hospitals using monitoring for early detection and rapid response teams that will stabilize patients immediately. We'll make sure all healthcare providers deliver high-quality CPR with innovative quality improvement tools and sessions. And finally, we'll personalize resuscitation to each patient, leveraging the latest technology to identify and treat underlying causes.
Is this really realistic? It's certainly a worthwhile and noble objective, but would it have helped save an old friend of mine many years ago? He was 43 years old, at a lakes and sitting down watching some young guys doing some tricks on water skis. He was an ex-Mr. New Zealand and a bit of a showman. He said, "I'll go and show these guys how to really do it." He got up and before he'd gone 3 paces, dropped down dead. This is how a lot of these deaths happen. They are not all fortunate enough, like Dr. John Warner and Bob Harper, whom I referred to in my last video, to have medics on hand to revive them. In some cases, even if the medics are on hand, it is still not possible to save them. So what do you do if you're serious about avoiding a cardiac event? Well, the first thing you do is not to accept that because your blood tests are okay, that you're in the clear. The traditional blood tests of cholesterol and triglycerides are not a reliable indicator of your future risk, although the ratio of HDL cholesterol and triglycerides is an important marker, but only one component of it. As you saw in the news item in my last video, Dr. Warner had none of the signs of having a heart problem. His standard tests were fine. These tests will not pick up if you're on the verge of a fatal heart attack. There are much more effective protocols. I will tell you about them in a moment, but before I go on, there are some blood tests that you should ensure that your doctor does when you are having your standard checkups. Some of them are not done normally and you have to ask for them. Here they are. C-reactive protein. This measures the inflammation in the blood and is a very important marker. If your CRP is high, you are going to have cardiovascular problems as it will inflame your arteries and restrict blood flow. A good quality omega-3 fish oil will help in this area. Homocysteine is another important marker which should be tested, and if elevated can be helped by B vitamins. Another very important marker is HbA1c, which gives an indication of your longer-term blood glucose level. It is amazing how many people are pre-diabetic but don't realize it. Diabetics are much more susceptible to cardiac events. I will talk more about these markers in future videos. For now, if you really want to get a true indication of your potential risk, there is a test that is more reliable than anything else. It is called a CAC scan, which stands for coronary artery calcification. This test doesn't lie or mislead, and you can virtually see what your risks are. It simply blows away all the other tests. I had one done, but post-surgery, when it was too late. It is not a test that is routinely recommended, and many doctors are unaware of it, even though it is mandatory for NASA astronauts and the US presidents to have them. I will explain in the next video why this scan is so important and what it does. So we'll talk soon.